Welcome to a chilling journey into the heart of the night, where the clock ticks toward 3 a.m., a moment when the world falls silent and some of history's darkest crimes come alive, leaving echoes that haunt us even now.
Have you ever jolted awake at 3 a.m., your pulse racing, the air feeling heavy with a fear you can't name?
That shiver running down your spine. It's not just in your head. For centuries, 3 a.m. has carried a weight beyond mere time, whispered about as the witching hour, a moment when ancient stories told of spirits slipping through the cracks of reality, when sailors spoke of restless seas under starless skies, when monks rose in candlelit halls to pray against unseen forces lurking in the dark. Even today, in 2025, that unease persists. Scroll through online forums, and you'll find countless tales of people waking at exactly 3 a.m., gripped by a dread that feels almost alive, as if the hour itself is watching, waiting for something to break the stillness. Imagine lying in bed, the house creaking softly, the clock's digits glowing 3 o'clock, casting a faint red light across the room, and then a sound, faint but deliberate, like a footstep where no one should be.
What would you do in that moment? That fleeting second, that hour, has been the stage for horrors that defy reason, crimes where entire families were torn apart, where killers moved like shadows through locked doors, where answers slipped away like smoke, leaving only questions that claw at us decades later. Why does 3 a.m. seem to summon chaos?
Science offers a partial explanation. Our circadian rhythms hit their lowest point at 3 a.m. Our bodies weaken. Our minds blur the line between dream and reality. But science alone can't account for the pattern. The way 3 a.m. marks these cases like a brand, a signature that no detective, no researcher, has ever fully erased. Tonight, we're not chasing ghost stories or urban legends. We're diving into real crimes. 3 true cases, each one unsolved in its own way, each one striking at precisely 3 a.m., each one a wound that time refuses to heal. First, we'll walk the halls of Amityville, New York, in 1974, where a family of 6 was gunned down in their sleep, the killer's motives tangled in greed, rage, or something far darker that no one can pin down. Next, we'll venture to Keddie, California, 1981. A remote cabin turned into a scene of unimaginable bloodshed, where 4 lives ended in a frenzy, the killer vanishing into the forest like a phantom. And finally, we'll cross the globe to Tokyo, Japan, 2000, where the Setagaya family was knifed in their home at 3 a.m., their killer lingering to eat ice cream, leaving clues that lead nowhere. These aren't just murders. They're mysteries woven into the fabric of the witching hour, moments where 3 a.m. feels like more than a coincidence, as if it chooses who lives and who dies. What ties these crimes together? Is 3 a.m. just a random hour, or does it hold a power we can't fully grasp? As we unravel these stories, you'll feel the weight of that hour, the way it creeps into your thoughts, the way it lingers long after the clock moves on. Grab a blanket, check the locks, and stay with us, because once we step into the witching hour, there's no turning back. Let's step back to November 13th, 1974, to Amityville, New York, a sleepy coastal town on Long Island's South Shore, where the Atlantic's waves lap gently against rocky beaches, where colonial homes stand proud with neatly trimmed lawns, white picket fences, and American flags fluttering in the breeze, a place that feels like the heart of suburban safety, until the witching hour tears that illusion to pieces. This is the story of the DeFeo family, who called 112 Ocean Avenue their home, a grand Dutch colonial house with a boathouse out back. Its 3 stories of white siding capped with dormer windows that seem to watch the street, a quaint sign by the driveway proclaiming High Hopes, a name that would soon feel like a bitter mockery of the tragedy about to unfold. Picture the house at night, the moon casting long, jagged shadows across its facade, the windows dark, the air thick with the briny scent of the sea, the silence broken only by the distant crash of waves against the shore, a stillness that cloaked the horror, waiting to erupt. Inside 112 Ocean Avenue lived Ronald DeFeo Sr., a 43-year-old car dealership manager, broad-shouldered and imposing, his temper quick and unforgiving, his voice often booming through the house, his need for control setting everyone on edge. Beside him was Louise DeFeo, 42, a gentle woman with warm brown eyes, her smile a flicker of light in a home weighed down by tension, her days spent smoothing over conflicts, her hands busy with chores to keep the family grounded, her patience a quiet strength. Their children brought life to the house, though not always harmony. Ronald Jr., 23, known as Butch, was a lanky young man with a growing drug problem, his arguments with his father escalating into shouting matches that rattled the walls, his resentment simmering like a storm ready to break. Dawn, 18, was bright and dreamy, her diary filled with plans to leave Amityville, to find a life beyond the chaos of her family, her laughter a rare gift that could lighten the mood. Allison, 13, was shy and studious, always tucked into a corner with a book, her quiet presence a contrast to the louder voices around her, her giggles soft but fleeting. Mark, 12, was a budding baseball player, his room cluttered with trophies and sports gear, his energy boundless, his grin infectious to anyone who saw it. And John, 9, was the youngest, his wide eyes full of trust, his giggle a spark that could brighten even the darkest moments, his innocence a reminder of what the family might have been. The DeFeos weren't perfect. Neighbors noticed the shouting matches, saw Butch storm out of the house, his face twisted with anger, his father's strict rules clashing with his rebellion, whispers of drugs and defiance trailing him like a shadow. Some said Ronald Sr. was too hard on his son, pushing him toward a breaking point, while others thought Louise tried to hold it all together, her patience stretched thin by the constant friction. But on November 12, 1974, the day started like any other, a crisp fall morning in Amityville, the leaves turning gold and red, the air sharp with the promise of winter on the horizon. Ronald Sr. fired up the backyard grill, the smell of sizzling steaks drifting through the neighborhood, a rare moment of ease as he flipped burgers and called to the kids to come eat. Louise hummed softly in the kitchen, her apron dusted with flour from baking cookies, her hands moving with the rhythm of routine, her smile weary but genuine as she set out plates. Dawn chatted on the phone with a friend, planning a weekend trip, her voice bright with hope, her dreams of freedom just beyond her reach. Allison curled up in the living room with a novel, her glasses slipping down her nose, lost in a world of fiction that felt safer than her own. Mark and John tossed a baseball in the backyard, their laughter echoing across the lawn, their game a slice of childhood untouched by the tensions inside the house. Butch, sullen as ever, tinkered with his car in the garage, his mind elsewhere, his silence louder than any words he could have spoken, his presence a question mark in the family's fragile balance. Dinner that night was lively, the dining table crowded with plates and bowls, the conversation touching on school, work, the upcoming holidays, the kind of mundane chatter that families lean into without knowing it might be their last. Ronald Sr. told stories of his dealership, his voice softening with pride as he spoke of a good sale, while Louise passed the mashed potatoes, her eyes catching John's as he giggled over a spilled glass of milk. Dawn talked about college, her excitement tempered by the weight of her father's expectations, her fork pausing midair as she spoke of her plans. Allison listened quietly, her book resting beside her plate, her thoughts drifting to the pages she'd return to later. Mark and John teased each other, their banter light, their energy spilling over, while Butch ate in near silence, his answers short, his gaze fixed on some distant point, his mood a shadow that hung over the table. By 10 p.m., the house began to settle. Louise tucked John into bed, kissing his forehead, her voice soft as she whispered goodnight. Ronald Sr. checked the locks, his routine methodical, his footsteps heavy on the stairs as he made his rounds. Dawn retreated to her room, her diary open, her pen scratching out her hopes and fears under the glow of a bedside lamp. Allison slipped under her covers, her book propped on her pillow, her lamp casting a warm circle of light. Mark and John whispered in the shared room, their bunk beds creaking, their voices fading into yawns as sleep took hold. Butch stayed up a little longer, alone in the basement, his thoughts unreadable, his intentions unclear, his presence a quiet storm brewing in the dark. Midnight came, and Amityville was still, the streets empty, the houses dark, the ocean's rhythm steady in the distance, the clock in the DeFeo home ticking towards something no one could foresee. By 2 a.m., the family was asleep, their breaths even, their dreams carrying them far from the reality about to descend upon them. At exactly 3 a.m., the witching hour arrived, and 1:12, Ocean Avenue became a slaughterhouse, the silence shattered by a horror that would echo through decades. Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr. was awake, his hands wrapped around a .35 Marlin rifle, his footsteps deliberate as he moved through the darkened house, his breath steady, his eyes unreadable, his mind a storm of motives no one would ever fully unravel.
What snapped inside him that night? What drove him to cross a line from anger to annihilation?
He started with his parents' bedroom on the second floor, the door slightly ajar, the moonlight filtering through the curtains, casting stripes across the bed where Ronald Sr. lay face down, snoring softly. Louise curled beside him, her arm draped over a pillow. Butch raised the rifle, the barrel steady, and fired. 2 shots tore through Ronald Sr.'s back, blood blooming across the sheets like dark flowers, his body jerking once before going still. 2 more shots hit Louise, her chest heaving briefly, then falling silent, the room filling with the sharp, acrid stench of gunpowder, the bed a crimson ruin, the air thick with the weight of what had just begun.
Why didn't they scream? How did those shots not wake the house?
The rifle was loud, its report sharp enough to carry, yet the neighbors heard nothing, the night swallowing the sound as if complicit in the act. Butch moved to Dawn's room, her door open just a crack, her figure barely visible in the dim light. She was stirring, her eyes fluttering as if sensing danger, but it was too late. He fired twice, bullets ripping through her chest, her body collapsing against the headboard, her diary falling to the floor, its pages splayed like broken wings, her dreams snuffed out in an instant. Allison's room was next, down the hall, her door closed, her world quiet. She was asleep, her blanket pulled tight, her glasses resting on the nightstand, her book open beside her. 2 shots to her head, blood pooling on her pillow, her book tumbling to the carpet, its spine cracked, her stillness absolute. Mark and John shared a room on the same floor, their bunk beds creaking faintly under their weight, their small forms curled under blankets, unaware of the shadow crossing their threshold. Butch fired twice at each, Mark on the top bunk, John below, their bodies crumpling, blood staining their pajamas, the walls splattered red, their innocence stolen in seconds. By 3:15 a.m., 6 lives were gone, the house a tomb, Butch's breath ragged in the silence, his hands steady despite the chaos he'd unleashed. He didn't flee. Instead, he lingered, staging the scene, his mind racing as he tried to cover his tracks. He showered, washing away the gunpowder, his clothes stuffed into a bag, the rifle wrapped in a towel, his movements calm, calculated. At dawn, he drove to a storm drain, dumping the weapon, its barrel sinking into the muck, his face unreadable as he headed to work, acting as if nothing had happened. By evening, he was at a local bar, his voice shaking as he told friends, "Someone shot my family." His panic convincing, his story rehearsed, his lies holding for a moment. Police arrived at 112 Ocean Avenue that night, their flashlights cutting through the dark, their faces paling as they found 6 bodies, all face down, shot execution style, no signs of struggle, no drugs to explain their stillness. The house a silent witness to the unthinkable. Why were they all face down? How did no one fight back? Butch's story unraveled quickly. No forced entry. No missing valuables. Just blood and bullets. The scene too clean for a stranger's work. Detectives found gun boxes in his room. Receipts for a .35 Marlin. His fingerprints on lies that couldn't hold. Under questioning, he cracked, his voice flat as he said, "Once I started, I couldn't stop." His confession chilling, his motives murky. He later claimed voices in the house drove him, a story he'd retract, then repeat, leaving everyone grasping for truth.
Convicted of 6 murders, he was sentenced to life, but the questions never stopped. How did one man kill 6 across 3 floors with a loud rifle and wake no one? Was Butch alone? Did 3 a.m. dull the world senses?
No other suspects emerged. The rifle never spoke. The case closed, but never settled. The house at 112 Ocean Avenue became infamous. Later owners claiming whispers at 3 a.m., though skeptics called it grief-fueled myth. Amityville's wound remains, tied to the witching hour, a mystery that refuses to fade, a reminder that some shadows never leave. Let's travel to April 11th, 1981, to Keddie, California, a remote resort town nestled deep in the Sierra Nevada, where towering pine forests stretch endlessly, their branches heavy with the sharp scent of sap, where scattered cabins, the rugged hills, offering solitude to those seeking refuge from the world, a place where the quiet feels eternal until the witching hour proves it fragile. This is the story of the Sharp family, living in Cabin 28, a weathered rental with creaky wooden floors, thin walls that let the cold seep through, and a rusty stove that struggled to warm the rooms. A humble home meant for peaceful nights, but destined to become a symbol of horror that would haunt Keddie forever. Glenna Sharp, 36, known as Sue, was a single mother, her life marked by struggle, but defined by fierce love for her 5 children. Sheila, 14, was bright and independent, her eyes always fixed on a future beyond the mountains. Tina, 12, was curious and shy, her smile a quiet gift that warmed the cabin. Rick, 10, was protective, his loyalty to his siblings fierce despite his young age. Greg, 5, was the baby, his constant grin a spark of joy that could lift any mood. And Johnny, 15, was a spirited teen, his absence that night a twist of fate that spared him from the nightmare. Keddie was a small community, fewer than 100 souls, where everyone knew each other's names, where the general store doubled as a gossip hub, where the rhythm of life was slow, tied to the seasons and the forest's whispers. Sue had moved her family here a year earlier, escaping a troubled marriage, hoping the mountains would offer a fresh start, a chance to rebuild. She worked odd jobs, at the bar, cleaning cabins, her hands rough from labor, her heart heavy but resolute. The kids adapted, finding freedom in the woods, their days filled with games and dreams, though money was tight. The cabin's bare walls a reminder of their hardships. Sheila helped with chores, her maturity beyond her years, while Tina collected wildflowers, pressing them into a scrapbook, her quiet way of holding on to beauty. Rick and Greg stuck close, their bond tight, their laughter a constant in the cabin. While Johnny roamed with friends, his energy restless, his plans big for a small town. On April 11th, the day unfolded like any other in Keddie. The air cool with spring's promise, the pines swaying under a gray sky. Sue spent the morning at the bar, serving coffee to locals, her smile tired but kind, her thoughts on the kids' dinner. Sheila planned to sleep over at a friend's house, a rare treat, her backpack slung over her shoulder as she hugged Sue goodbye, her absence a decision that would haunt her forever. Tina stayed home, watching cartoons with Greg, their giggles mixing as they shared a bowl of popcorn, the TV's glow a small comfort. Rick invited Dana Wingate, 17, a friend from school, to hang out, the two tossing a football in the yard, their voices carrying through the dusk, their ease a snapshot of youth untouched by what was coming. Johnny was out, staying with a neighbor, his night carefree, his absence a stroke of luck no one could predict. By 8 p.m., cabin was lively. Sue cooked spaghetti, the smell filling the rooms, her hands quick as she stirred the sauce, her voice calling the kids to eat. Tina set the table, her movements careful, her chatter #xvideos.com smile shy, while Rick and Dana joked, their plates piled high, their hunger endless. Dinner was a mess of chatter. Rick teased Tina about her crush. Dana laughed, his grin wide, while Greg smeared sauce on his cheeks, his giggles contagious. Sue watched them, her heart full, her worries momentarily eased, the cabin a bubble of warmth against the night's chill. By 10 p.m., the house settled. Sue retreated to her room with a paperback romance novel, her lamp casting a soft glow, her mind drifting to dreams of a better life. Tina curled up in her bed, her scrapbook beside her, her breath slowing as sleep took hold. Rick and Greg shared a room, their bunk beds creaking, their whispers about comic books fading into snores. Dana stretched out on the living room couch, his lanky frame barely fitting, his snores faint, his shoes kicked off by the door. Midnight passed, Keddie silent, the forest still, the stars hidden by clouds, the cabin a speck in the vast wilderness, its lights dim, its occupants unaware of the shadow creeping closer. At exactly 3 a.m., the witching hour struck, and cabin 28 became a slaughterhouse, the quiet torn apart by violence that shook the mountains.
Who slipped into the cabin that night? What drove such rage?
Sue, Tina, and Dana were attacked in the living room, knives and a hammer, turning the space into a blood-stained nightmare. Their lives ended in a frenzy of blows, the walls marked by the chaos, the floor slick with loss. The brutality was relentless, Sue bound, her struggle fierce but futile. Dana fought, his strength no match. Tina, small and fragile, caught in the storm. Why so much force? Rick and Greg, asleep in a back room, were untouched, their breaths even, their survival a mystery that would baffle everyone. Was it mercy, oversight, or a deliberate choice? The killer, or killers, moved with purpose, their actions precise yet frenzied, their presence a ghost in the dark, leaving no clear trace. Sheila returned at dawn, her key turning in the lock, her footsteps light until she saw the scene. Her mother gone, her sister missing, her friend still, blood everywhere, her screams shattering the morning, her world collapsing in a heartbeat. She ran to a neighbor, her voice hoarse, her hands shaking, her mind unable to grasp the horror, her life forever altered at 14. Neighbors called the sheriff, their phones trembling, their voices breaking. The news spreading like wildfire through Keddie's small circle, the town's peace shattered in an instant. Sheriff's deputies arrived by 8 a.m., their boots heavy on the cabin's porch, their faces grim as they stepped inside, the air thick with the coppery stench of blood, the scene a chaos of evidence and despair. They found ropes tied in strange knots, a bloodied hammer abandoned on the floor, a knife bent from force, its blade dulled by the act, a toolbox nearby, its contents scattered. What did the ropes mean? Was it planned? Furniture was untouched, no valuables taken, no signs of a break-in. The door locked from the inside, the windows intact, the isolation of cabin 28 a cruel trap. Tina's absence was the deepest cut. Her body gone, her fate a haunting question, her scrapbook left open to a page of pressed flowers, a fragile relic of her life. Deputies cordoned off the scene, their radios crackling, their notebooks filling with details that led nowhere, their shock palpable as they worked through the morning. Investigators from Plumas County took over, their suits out of place in Keddie's rustic streets, their questions sharp but fruitless. Neighbors saw nothing, heard nothing, the forest too dense, the night too quiet. How could no one notice? They interviewed Sheila, her tears endless, her memory blank, her grief a wall no one could breach. Rick and Greg, found unharmed, were too young to recall, their eyes wide, their words few, their survival a miracle that offered no clues. The community rallied, bringing blankets, coffee, prayers, but the cabin stood like a tomb, its windows dark, its walls whispering of loss. Suspects emerged quickly, locals with shaky alibis, drifters passing through, men with violent pasts, their names whispered in the store, their faces scrutinized. Two neighbors, Martin Smart and John Babade, drew focus. Smart, a volatile man with a temper, lived nearby with his friend Babade, a drifter with a rap sheet. Their stories vague, their behavior odd. Smart claimed he was asleep. Babade backed him. But gaps in their timelines raised flags. Where were they at 3 a.m.? Did they know Sue? Smart's ex-wife later said he hated Sue, his jealousy over her independence a simmering grudge. But proof was thin, his house clean, his alibi unchallenged. Others pointed to a biker gang rumored to roam the area, their presence a ghost story, their tracks untraceable. A local dealer was questioned, his drugs a possible link, but he lawyered up, his silence ironclad. The evidence was maddening, fingerprints smudged, blood mixed, no DNA testing in 81 to crack the case wide open. A shoeprint outside was too faint, a tire track too common, a strange light seen in the woods by a camper dismissed as a dream. Was it cover-up? Some whispered of corruption. Deputies too close to locals, evidence mishandled, chain of custody broken. But no paper trail proved it, only rumors fueled by grief. A tape surfaced years later, a muffled scream said to be Tina's, but experts called it noise. Its origin lost, its weight crushing for Sheila. What happened to Tina? In 1984, a skull was found 50 miles away, near a creek. Tests confirming it was Tina's, her body scattered, her death of final cruelty. Her killer still free. The investigation stalled, leads dried up. The case grew cold. The files boxed in a dusty sheriff's basement. The cabin left to rot, its roof caving by the 90s, its memory a scar on Keddie. Sheila moved away, her life a battle with trauma, her advocacy for victims her way of fighting back, her questions unanswered. Why her family? Why 3 a.m.? Why no justice? Rick and Greg grew up, their memories foggy, their loss a quiet ache, their survival a bittersweet gift. The community dwindled, the resort fading. Keddie a ghost town by 2000, its story a cautionary tale, its peace gone forever. Online sleuths revived the case in the 2010s, forums buzzing with theories. A cult, a hit, a serial killer, but none held, the evidence too old, the witnesses scattered. A 2016 podcast brought new eyes. A documentary followed, yet the sheriff's office stayed mum. Their leads exhausted, their hope dim. Is the killer still out there? Did they walk among Keddie's own? The witching hour holds cabin 28's secrets. Its mark a wound that never heals, a reminder that some evils slip through time's cracks, leaving only pain and questions in their wake. Let's cross the globe to December 30th, 2000, to Tokyo, Japan, a city where neon lights pulse through the night, where quiet suburbs nestle against the urban chaos, where the Miyazawa family lived in a modest two-story home by a leafy park, their lives simple and full until the witching hour turned their warmth to ashes. This is their story. Yasuko, 41, was a schoolteacher, her patience endless, her smile a quiet anchor for her students, her evenings spent grading papers with care. Mikio, 44, worked in advertising, his creativity a spark, his devotion to his family clear in every choice he made. Nina, 8, was a bundle of giggles, her energy boundless, her drawings taped to every wall. Ray, 6, was shy, his curiosity deep, his questions about stars and bugs a constant hum. Their home was cozy, books stacked on shelves, toys scattered across the floor, Christmas decorations still up, a string of lights twinkling above the staircase, a haven of love in Tokyo's winter chill. The Miyazawas were ordinary but cherished, neighbors waving as they passed, their routines predictable. School, work, play, repeat. Yasuko taught English, her voice gentle, her lessons laced with stories that made kids laugh. Mikio designed campaigns, his office cluttered with sketches, his weekends spent biking with Nina, her helmet wobbling, his cheers loud. Ray liked puzzles, his small hands piecing together animals, his grin rare but radiant. Nina's friends filled the house, their chatter endless, their games spilling into the yard, the park a stone's throw away, its swings creaking in the breeze. The family was saving for a bigger place, their lease ending soon, their dreams modest but bright, their life a tapestry of small joys. On December 29th, the day buzzed with end-of-year energy. Yasuko sat at the dining table, her pen marking essays, her coffee cooling, her thoughts on her students' progress. Mikio worked from home, his laptop open, planning a spring trip to Okinawa, his voice light as he teased Nina about her messy crayons. The kids sprawled on the living room rug, drawing snowmen, their giggles mixing, their papers piling up, a Christmas card half finished for Grandma. Yasuko cooked dinner, curry, Nina's favorite, the smell drifting, the kitchen warm, Mikio chopping carrots, his mock complaints making Ray laugh. They ate together, the table tight, Nina slurping, Ray picking at his rice, Yasuko sharing a story from school, Mikio nodding, his pride quiet. After, they watched the holiday special, the TV flickering, Nina curled against Yasuko, Ray on Mikio's lap, the couch sagging, the night soft. By 10 p.m., the house stilled. Yasuko tucked the kids in, Nina's stuffed bear hugged tight, Ray's nightlight glowing blue, their breath slowing. Mikio locked the doors, his routine firm, his last check at 11 p.m., the suburb quiet, Tokyo some distant. Midnight passed, the park outside dark, the stars faint, the house wrapped in sleep, its warmth a shield against the cold. At 3 a.m., the witching hour struck, and a killer entered, silent as a shadow, turning the Miyazawa home into a nightmare without warning.
How did they slip in unseen? What broke the locks?
Mikio, Nina, and Ray were knifed, their lives stolen in moments, blood pooling on the floors, upstairs, downstairs, a trail of loss, the walls scarred by the violence, the house no longer a sanctuary. Ray was first, his small body still, his breath stopped, the cruelty swift. Mikio fought, his strength fierce, his body found on the stairs, his effort futile. Yasuko and Nina were last, their room a chaos of struggle, their bond unbroken even in death, their blood mingling on the sheets. Why so precise? Why no mercy? The killer didn't flee. They lingered, their presence a taunt, eating 4 cups of ice cream from the fridge, strawberry drips on the counter, using the family's computer for 10 minutes, clicking aimlessly, leaving bloody bandages in the trash, their DNA scattered like a signature. They drank barley tea, rifled drawers, took 130,000 yen, petty cash, not a motive, left a jacket, sneakers, a fanny pack, a knife with a chipped blade, fingerprints clear, blood not their own. Why stay an hour? What kind of mind lingers? The killer used the bathroom, unhurried, their calm chilling, their exit clean. No neighbors woke. No dogs barked. The park empty. Tokyo asleep. Morning came, a relative visiting. Their knock unanswered. Their peek through a window revealing horror, blood, stillness, a family gone. Their call to police trembling. Their shock await. Officers arrived by 9 a.m., the sirens soft, their faces paling. The house cordoned, the park sealed, reporters gathering, their cameras flashing, the suburb stunned, its rhythm broken. Tokyo Metropolitan Police launched a manhunt, their force vast, 40,000 officers over years, 16,000 tips chased. Their resolve iron but fruitless. The evidence was rich, DNA from blood, saliva, skin, fingerprints on the knife, fibers from the jacket, sand in the fanny pack from California, rare sneakers sold to 12 buyers, a sweatshirt size small, type A blood, but no match, no name, no face. How does someone vanish? DNA suggested Korean ancestry, a male, mid-20s, but Japan's databases were blank, international checks dry. The trail cold by 2001. The knife was store-bought, the jacket mass-made, the sanded dead end, the cash untraceable. Was it random? Theories swirled. Revenge over Mikio's work, a park dispute, a military link from the sand. But nothing stuck, no grudges surfaced, no enemies named. Neighbors recalled skateboarder nearby. A shadow at night, but sketches led nowhere. Faces forgotten, memories blurred. Why 3 a.m.? The Miyazawa's loss rippled. Classmates wept. Nina's desk empty. Rei's puzzles untouched. Yasuko's students lost. Mikio's team adrift. The community lit candles, their vigils yearly, their posters fading. The house razed in 2005, its lot a shrine. Flowers left daily. Grief a constant. Police kept files open, their press brief sparse, their hope dim. 12,000 tips by 2025. No arrests, no answers. Is he still in Tokyo? Did he flee? The family's kin pushed on, their pain private, their pleas public. Japan's longest case a wound. The witching hour holds the Miyazawa's fate. Its silence cruel, its mark a mystery Tokyo can't shake. A family's light dimmed forever. Now let's step back and weave these stories together. Amityville, Keddie, Setagaya. 3 tragedies, each striking at 3 a.m., each a labyrinth with no exit, their shadows stretching across decades. What binds them beyond the hour? In Amityville, a son turned executioner, his rifle deafening yet unheard, his motive a fog of greed, rage, or whispers he claimed drove him. In Keddie, a frenzied attack spared 2 boys, knives and hammers carving chaos, the killer vanishing into pines. Their identity a ghost. In Setagaya, a stranger lingered, eating ice cream, leaving DNA. Their comma taunt, their face unknown. The pattern chills, 3 a.m., when the world sleeps deepest, when killers strike unseen, when clues dissolve like mist, leaving families broken, communities scarred, detectives grasping at air. Is it biology? Science says 3 a.m. is our nadir. Circadian rhythms crash, bodies weaken, Minds blur. A moment when defenses drop, when chaos finds a crack. Did killers exploit this? Their timing instinctual, their prey vulnerable? In Amityville, the DeFeos slept through gunfire, their stillness eerie. In Keddie, survivors slumbered yards from screams, untouched. In Setagaya, a city slept as a family fell, no alarms raised. Or psychology. Does 3 a.m. weigh heavier, its silence amplifying rage? Snapping minds? Butch spoke of voices, Keddie's killer raged, Setagaya's lingered, each act defying reason, each mind storm. Some dare whisper the supernatural. 3 a.m. as a veil thinning, spirits stirring, chaos unleashed, folklore's echo in modern blood. Amityville's house sparked hauntings, Keddie's cabin drew chills, Setagaya's loss felt cursed. But proof stays elusive, belief a flicker against facts. Is 3 a.m. cursed? No case confirms it. Yet the hour's mark is undeniable. 3 crimes, 3 continents, 3 eras, all at 3 a.m. Their questions louder than answers. Greed failed Butch. No loot in Keddie, petty cash in Tokyo. Motives fray, patterns hold. Families mourn, their names eternal. Louise, Sue, Yasuko. Children lost, lives cut short. What drives such evil? The witching hour ties these wounds, its shadow a thread, urging us to ask, coincidence, science, or something deeper. Stirring in the dark? We've walked the witching hour's edge, from Amityville's blood to Tokyo's silence, each case carved by 3 a.m., each a story unresolved, their weight heavy on us all. What makes this hour so haunting? Think of those lost, families who deserved peace, not pain, their dreams stolen, their voices stilled. The DeFeos, Sharps, Miyazawas, their names echo. Their mysteries beg us to listen. Will you check the clock tonight? Share your thoughts below. What does 3 a.m. mean to you? Keep their stories alive, lock your doors, and stay safe. The witching hour never sleeps.